You are now watching Yah Mans and them live.
You are now rocking with your mans and them live.
Moving on, we got news on the scroll.
News on
Someone
the
make some
scroll.
noise or with something.
News on
Fast.
the scroll.
All right, so we got a clip from Instagram. It is B. Simone. What is she? Instagram comedian, you would say?
She do something.
Do we think she's funny?
She's a personality.
We not even gonna go into
We're
that.
not gonna go into that.
All right.
Shout out to that
Because
queen.
you know some people here are fans.
Shout out to that queen.
She's funny.
All right,
She's funny.
we gonna play the video. She made some statements about MLK the other day, and we gonna give our thoughts.
Okay. Feels weird.
King is the man that fought for freedom, or the fact that he was cheating on the wife? Jesus. I'm gonna give you this example. He's a great father, great businessman. He's a great CEO. He's an entrepreneur. He's such a boss. Look at that man. He's a boss. He's a great father. Look at him, a strong black man. Look at him being at his kid's game. But you're cheating on your wife. You're not a good husband, but he's great in all these other aspects. Not a good dad, because you don't respect me. How the fuck you show he's a good father and you don't respect their mother? You're not a great dad, my nigga.
Is that a trailer?
Did you hear that? I don't know what it was.
No, that's how they edit their clips. You know,
Did she just
they
call
make it dramatic.
Martin
I like
Luther King
that.
my nigga?
Did you hear it? Oh, okay.
It sound like a trailer.
I say it sound,
Matt.
I thought it was gonna be her talking, but
Yeah,
I
it
couldn't
sound like
find
mad
it.
cut up.
I sent it in the chat.
Okay. Well, we got it now.
Well, we just.
No, we don't.
They heard it.
so what about it?
She just called Martin. Yeah, she definitely called Martin Luther King my nigga. The lack of respect for the great Martin Luther
You would have
King.
never did that to Mrs. Parks
Never.
or Mrs. Tubman
Never.
or Mrs. Sojourner Truth.
I have a problem with this post.
That was good.
I'm gonna tell you why I got a problem with it. I think that if you cheat on your wife, that doesn't make you a bad man. I think that everybody can make a mistake. Just because you cheat on your wife doesn't take away from the fact that you could be a good father. It doesn't take away from the fact that you could be a good leader. It doesn't take away from the fact that you could provide.
True.
You can be good at all these things, but still be a terrible husband, in my opinion.
But what is the lump sum of all of those actions? Like, so you being a good father, you being a good husband, you being a good provider, all these things. What is the title? What is the actual title of all those things? Like, put together.
Drew.
Huh?
The title is Drew.
No, I'm saying if you're doing everything you're supposed to do, what is the title that sums up all those things?
You're a good man.
So if you're not doing one of those things correctly, are you still a good man?
Yes. You are absolutely still a good man. Y'all don't think so?
I don't think.
Let us know in the chat.
I don't think he's a bad man. I just think it depends on how. It's a subjective opinion, right? Because MLK was a pastor, so because he's preaching, and the fact that he has an infidelity, some people allegedly, yes, some people could look at him in a sense of like, you're a pastor who's preaching all these words, and yet you're cheating on your wife. That can take some points away from another person's perspective, how they view him. Now, I don't think that's. I think it's fair depending on what you think is important, but I think if we're looking at the work, the whole body of work that he's done for our people, I don't think he's a bad man. I just think he had faults. And
Yes.
I think his faults, depending on how large you look at it, may be, I don't think it overtakes what he's done for us as a community.
So what you're saying is Martin Luther King was a human.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a human, but he
And-
was an imperfect human.
Who's perfect here?
No, nobody's perfect, but I think you can still hold him accountable for what his actions are.
I don't have to. You know, I don't have to hold him accountable because
Why?
I don't.
I mean,
I don't live. I don't live in his shoes. I don't live his life.
Yeah. I mean, I
So
don't
what
think we can hold him
what I
accountable.
was taught about Martin Luther King was that he did this, that, and the third for our people. What he did in his personal life had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with me personally. This, to me, this stems back to the whole Will Smith situation.
Oh, please don't bring up Will Smith.
Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. He
that
put
Will
all
Smith
black people down. How?
Yeah.
Martin Luther King was out there fighting for our freedom, fighting for this, fighting for that. Whoever he chose to lay down with was a personal decision. So now now you sitting here labeling him a bad man. So does that discredit all the work that he's done to make sure that you live the way you live right now? Which is we're not in the greatest of spaces, but we're not where we were. So that diminishes everything. So you telling me if Rosa Parks would have found out she had infidelity, that would just take away everything she's done?
Right, or if Rosa Parks
she's a
I mean,
bad
I'm
woman.
not, I can't even joke. I can't even do this.
It's such a weird topic.
These are people that
That
should not be
trailblazers.
touched.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
trailblazers.
leave them alone.
I don't think it's a matter of they can't be touched. You can talk about it, but we can still respect the work that they've done for our community.
Yes, I
Because
agree.
I think it's a conversation because these are people who we look up to as people who've helped our community. But I think the thing is, imperfections aren't talked about in a sense, and I think that the sense is like just because a person has imperfection, that doesn't make them a bad person. They just made a mistake.
And I think they can still be good at everything else that they do, and they can still be flawed. Like Kendrick just dropped an album. Niggas one of the greatest artists of all time.
Better than
top,
J. Cole, right?
Top 3 for me
Better
in no
than J.
particular
Cole.
order.
Better than J.
One of the
Cole,
greatest
right?
of all times.
Better than
and
J.
he
Cole,
talks
right?
about cheating on his, you feel me? Cheating on his wife. He talks about possibly being a sex addict. He talks about trauma and his nobody's perfect. But to me, it doesn't take away from anything that he's done.
So A Melody, I'm jumping through the comments. A Melody made a point. She said if it was a woman, she would have been dragged. I put a woman in. If it was a woman, MOK, she's saying she would have been dragged. Now
Yes,
think about it.
she would have been dragged.
So now we get into the specs of
If
double
she-
standards.
If she did everything that Martin Luther King did, she wouldn't have been dragged.
But you just said she would have.
If, let's say,
Okay.
If Martin Luther King
if his
was
wife,
still,
If it was
cheated on him,
Martina Luther King.
if she cheated on him,
Martina Luther.
if she cheated on him, and the accolades were the same. Like Martin Luther King was still, he still was who he was, and she was who he was. Of course, she would have been dragged because she didn't have the accomplishments that he did.
Okay, but I'm saying if switch genders, if it was a female we were talking about who had all these accolades, you don't think she would have been dragged?
No, I think
Maya Angelou was a prostitute.
Okay, but we talk. Okay, well,
I don't think she would have been dragged. There's female. If we're gonna go to
got a
celebrities,
point.
there's female celebrities that do crazy
I'm just talking
shit.
about MOK. Like, if
Here's
it
what
was-
I'm trying to correlate.
Okay, go ahead.
There's female celebrities that do crazy shit all the time, right? Cardi B said that she robbed niggas, she drugged, right? She drugged people before. This is all the shit she did in her past. But because she's so big, she's a household name, niggas look over that shit. She's one of the biggest artists in the world. So yes, I think they would look over it. I don't think that.
They said Harriet Tubman used to punch babies and knock them out when they made noise so that they wouldn't get caught.
What would you do?
Is that true? I saw that, but I don't know if
So
that's
they
true.
wouldn't. So they wouldn't get caught.
Is this true?
Yes.
We gotta
so
look
they
that
wouldn't
up.
get caught.
I'm punching the baby too,
Used to
nigga.
knock
That's
babies
wicked.
out.
The fuck else you gonna do? You gotta shut the baby
You can't
up.
cry on the trail.
either-
We gotta get to the north.
It's either the baby or the freedom. Which one you want?
Which one you
know-
want us
you know,
goes
it's funny, I
back
was
to the
gonna mention that.
masters?
I was gonna mention that.
Somebody gotta go.
Ain't man if you don't shut that
Yo,
baby up.
what's that Dave Chappelle joke? And he was talking about somebody who saves, but he I forgot who was he talking
Why you
about.
talking so low?
He was talking about someone who saves or something. He said he does this, but he saves. I forgot. Anyway, listen.
Wait,
Yeah, we
oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't remember it. I know what you're talking about though. I can't.
But it's
remember
like
exactly.
someone who does good for the world, but maybe to their family, they're not as good of a person, or to maybe, it's like if you're doing good to the mass, but you may have 1 or 2 or 3, in comparison, that you're not doing that good. It's like the good overweighs the bad, even though the bad is still the bad.
Yeah.
The good still overweighs the bad.
Yeah, like it's like having like a little blemish on your record.
And think about it. He died without, he died early,
he didn't
so
get to
he
speak
couldn't.
for
He
himself,
couldn't get
yeah.
to speak for himself.
He didn't
And
get to
that's
speak for
another
himself.
thing. The man got assassinated. It's like,
crazy.
damn, can he rest? Like you just bringing up his name, like, oh, he was a bad man. Oh, listen, if he was allegedly a bad man, does this take away from his accolades? Does it take away? He fought for you. He fought for me.
I don't think this makes him a bad
I
man.
wonder how women,
Yeah, I think
what's
Drew
women's
said it-
opinions
Drew made
to
it
it?
clear, like, I agree with you. Like, I was just thinking OD, but like, he
That's
was
his
a
excuse for
bad.
being quiet.
He was a bad husband.
Husband, yes.
Right, but that doesn't make him a bad father, right? Him being a father is a relationship to his kids.
Right.
Right. Him being a leader is a relationship to his people. Right. Him being a husband, his relationship to his wife.
Right.
Right. So you can't categorize everything. You can call him out and say he's a bad husband, right, because of what he did to his wife. But at the same time, he could have done everything for his kids, right, and that makes him a good father.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to separate it.
And on top of that, the man's been dead for 60-something years. All
All right,
right,
let's get to
let
these
this
comments.
man rest. B. Simone.
All right, Chanel says, if you cheat on your child's parent, that affects your child, therefore making
That
you
is
an
another point. Sorry.
therefore making you an imperfect mother or father. Nobody perfect, Chanel.
Ain't nobody perfect.
Melody says he has done good for his community, but I can understand his kids saying he wasn't a good father because he cheated on their mother. No one is perfect.
So if you cheat on the parent, on the significant other, that labels you automatically a bad father?
I think in the kid's perspective, because you gotta understand, like that can hurt a child's feelings when you growing up. You see what you see is your two family household, your parents love, and then you kind of find out that your dad cheated on your mother. It's like, damn, like
I'm gonna say, damn, my pop's fucked up.
Yeah,
He's still a good dad.
he fucked up.
He still held me
I
down.
think
He
you
still
saying
took care
that-
of us.
I think you would say that as you got older and try to understand the situation. But if you're young and you saw that,
it depends on how the story is deciphered to you, because a bitter person will tell a fucked up
but
story.
it may not be just about a bitter person.
Now,
It could just
if
be
he's
what they saw.
Understand what I'm saying though?
Yeah, no, I hear you, but I don't think it's always the case. It could just be that they may have saw the action. You know,
If he's
They
continuously
walked in
cheating,
on the sex, on the cheating.
you never know. People cheat. Listen,
all right,
I'm
let
not
me
even
let me
into
finish these
that.
comments and then we can move on.
in the church.
Melody says I read that. Joy says, I don't know if her whole interview was solely about MLK. Chanel says, cheating is not a mistake, it's a choice. Timmy Thomas says, the one at the bottom with the braids, what's your name? My name is Bello, Mr. Timmy Thomas. Love Lavender says, first of all, I work in customer service and I hate when people get what the fuck that is? All right, Sheridan says, not to discredit the things he's done, he did a lot, but he lacked integrity in a certain area, i.e. his relationship, and the church covered that up for him. But shenanigans being tolerated in the church is another topic for another day.
Ooh, I'd
This
definitely
is
love to talk
true.
about
That
that.
is very true.
The church is very holy, but it's very, very nasty.
All right, time out. Reggie Porter says, Tiger got hella respect. Man had songs about him. Melody says, think about Bill Cosby for all the good he did. Would y'all say he is a good man? Nope.
No, he's a nasty man.
That was
Wait,
no.
No.
Hold on.
Wait,
Remember that joke I was talking about?
Huh?
That's what Dave Chappelle was talking about.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said he rapes, but he saves. He said
not see
he
that
saves more than he rapes, but he saves what he rapes,
But my thing
but he
is,
still rapes.
But my thing is,
Where's that joke from?
all right, infidelity versus drugging
That's two different things.
is two different things.
Yeah. Chanel says, nah, if you hurt your child's mother or father, that ultimately affects you being a good father or mother. Reggie Porter says, Cosby ain't do it. So, yes, he is a good man.
Cliff Hustle.
All right, last one,
I
Creative
cannot
Myth.
agree or deny.
Creative Myth says MLK got locked up, shot at, marched endlessly, and ultimately lost his life. African Americans and people in poverty. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been able to talk about this.
It's true. All that stress. The least you can do is get something. No, I'm playing.
You better get some buns on the side, all that work he put in.
But yo, all right. Imagine on the march on Washington, right? And he just marching. You just see some girl with some fat ass. He's like,
I'm done.
I have a dream.
All right, moving.